Hello and welcome back to another episode of the HoloNet. Today, I thought I might start a little bit of a mini-series on the HoloNet, something I'm going to start calling Something Cool in Star Wars You May Have Never Heard Of, and you might want to look into. In the future, I might make a collection of these videos and flesh out all these ideas into something greater and really flesh them all out. But being as I'm still small time, I'm still small potatoes, I'm just going to kind of shoot the shit with you and see whether or not these ideas can catch ground and get turning in your head. Because everyone in the world's heard of the Empire, everyone's heard of the Rebellion, the Republic, the CIS, the Sith, the Jedi. Everyone knows all of this. But some of the things that affect these mainstay factions in all the Star Wars universe, or have large swathing repercussions across the entire Star Wars universe, are less known and very, very interesting. Today, we're talking about the Pius Day. Now, you might be wondering, HoloNet, what the fuck did you just say to me? I don't understand what you just said. Is that even Star Wars? Are we talking about the Catholic Church? No, we're not. We're talking about the thing that led Chancellor Palpatine down his human-centric roots. And what I mean by that is in Legends and in Disney canon to a lesser extent. The Empire was well known for being extremely racist. Human first, motherfucker! On the core world, or rather the inner core world of Biss, they had something like a 99% population of human, and the population was like 5 billion, which is unheard of. Just humans first, aliens are second-class citizens, humanoids are like kind of in between, but the further away you are from human, the more likely you are to become a slave. Work for us, yeah! Which is kind of awesome. I've always thought that the whole human first thing was really epic. I'm a big fan of wacky aliens, but I'm also a big fan of humanity. Let's fucking go. So, the Pius Day cult, which happened like 10,000 years before A New Hope, maybe like more than that, it was a movement, a cult, a religious group that started on Coruscant and was all about humanity first. They assassinated a chancellor. They took over power. It was very brute force. It was a lot less cunning than what Palpatine did. And they took over most of the galaxy and held power for a substantial amount of time. Put every single alien species under the boot of humanity, took over everything. And that's why everywhere in the Star Wars universe, you see humans to this day. Now, obviously, years and years of this pass, and humanity's awesome, the best, but you can only hold on to an empire that's one species wide whenever an entire galaxy has their crosshairs pointed at you for so long. So eventually, the pesky Jedi decided that they were going to help out the rest of the species and be on the right side of history and take over the Pius Day cult, oust them from power, and instate a more open and more democratic republic that we're familiar to today. However, obviously the Sith saw this, human Sith in particular, and said, I'm gonna remember this. So over 10,000 years, the Pius Day cult still has pockets of here and there. They're with the levers of power. You know, human-centric ideology never truly fades, but the Pius Day as a open, broad state movement is left to the shadows. Very similar to the Sith in the modern day. Except instead of it being like the rule of two or something, it's just if I say I'm racist, I'm likely to be ousted from power. So, you know, a couple thousand years pass, and eventually Sheev Palpatine, Papa Palpatine on Naboo catches wind of this. Who knows how exactly. There might be a reason for it in like Darth Plagueis, the book, but I'm not privy to it. I haven't read it. But Sheev, being the human madman he is, decides he's going to be Pius Day's top guy. And when he takes over the Republic, the Galactic Republic, he's also going to instill a lot more Pius Day cult mantras. And that's why there's only humans in the Stormtrooper Corps, in the Army, in the Navy, all of it, with very few exceptions like Grand Admiral Thrawn. But he's humanoid, and he's so fucking valuable, of course they're going to have him on board. So there are some exceptions, but for the vast majority of the time, human only, baby. We rule the galaxy. And it's just such a cool concept because outside looking in, it's just, you know, they had to choose cool armors for the bad guys and they had to save money. You couldn't have an entire empire of aliens because that'd be cost way too much money. And you take that from the original trilogy and you say, okay, all of our bad guys are humans, but why? And now it's because of human-centric policies, the Sith liking the mighty rule. And you can trace it all the way back to where everywhere, in every section of Star Wars, every era of Star Wars pretty much, you can see little blips of the Pius Day ideology and the Pius Day cult if you look a little bit closer. It can put a whole other viewpoint on stories you read, games you play, movies you watch, and just to think that there's almost like this underground Illuminati that is even, I don't know if it's older than the Sith, but just as secret as the Sith, and just like it's almost like a weird third prong to the overall conspiracy to take over the entire galaxy. Very cool stuff. Very awesome that you get to. It's just, there's always something else to find in this universe. There's always something you haven't looked into. There's always something that the people writing for the Re-Expanded project or the people who may pick up the EU in the future can still expand upon and really, really sink their teeth into. Awesome, awesome, awesome stuff. Look into the Pius Day. Tell me your thoughts. And if there's anything that you know that not many people talk about that I should look into, leave it down there. Let me know what you think about the Pius Day cult and whether or not humanity deserves to have a net all of their own that isn't so hollow. I don't know. Thanks for watching. More Star Wars stuff in the future. I'm going to keep trying to crank stuff out. And I would like to start making videos on awesome mods. We'll see how that works as soon as I get a little bit more time. I'm dying. I need more time. See you guys. Bye-bye.